What is up, Pats Nation? It is Patriots Global back here with another video. And it's official. The New England Patriots have signed former Patriot linebacker Jamie Collins. Now, I did just make a video that I posted, and I told you this was going to happen, that I was going to post it, and right after I posted it, the Patriots would make it official. That's exactly what they did. But if you haven't checked out that video yet, still go check it out, because there is some things I said in that video that I will not be talking about in this video. But the New England Patriots have officially re-signed Jamie Collins. As we all know, Jamie Collins was a former second-round pick by the New England Patriots back in the 2013 NFL Draft. He's currently 29 years old, but he will be turning 30 this October. He's a linebacker that is going to bring some pretty decent height to the linebacker core. He sits at 6'3", so obviously that's something to look forward to. Patriots then traded Jamie Collins in pretty much mid-season of the 2016 season, just because of how cocky he was getting. He was getting a little bit money crazy. Patriots decided to trade him to the Cleveland Browns. After getting traded to the Browns ended up signing him to an extension. They signed him to a 4-year deal worth $50 million. And ultimately, he just had a lackluster time with the Browns. He was put at the top of their depth chart when traded, but he was not how he was with the Patriots. He was not this elite linebacker, so he kept getting pushed down on the depth chart. Had a bit of injuries here and there with the Browns. But this past season, he actually had a pretty decent season with them. He had 104 tackles, so even right there off the bat just shows you how he is still a tackling machine. But 104 tackles, 4 sacks, and an interception. He just continues to show his versatility that he even displayed in New England. Now, he has not done as well in the NFL since he was with New England. But while he was with them, they had developed him into an outside linebacker after he spent time as a defensive lineman, outside linebacker, and safety back in college in southern Mississippi. When the Patriots traded him, a lot of people were fairly surprised because he was a top contributor to the defense. He was a top player. Obviously, that's not ideal for any team, trading one of your best players on the team, especially defensively. But ultimately, the Patriots needed to do it, and in the end, I guess it was a pretty smart move, as the Patriots get a draft pick out of it. I believe it was a third, but don't quote me on that. But then, hey, the New England Patriots get him back a couple years later. As of right now, we do not know the terms of this deal. We do not know how long it is, how much it is worth. I don't think it would be worth too much money, only because we're how many months into free agency at this point, and he still hasn't been signed. I don't think this is going to be a huge lackluster deal, especially because he is not the player that he once was with New England. Now, with that being said, if anybody can revamp his career and turn it around, it's going to be the Patriots, because when with the Patriots, he was becoming one of the top linebackers in the league. He was already elite, but his stats were just climbing up. He will be rejoining with linebackers like Dante Hightower, and funny enough, his coach is going to be Gerard Mayo, who was once his teammate. Because let's remember, there was once this 3-headed monster in a Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, and a Gerard Mayo, and those guys are getting reunited, except this time Gerard Mayo will be the coach instead of actually playing on the team. One of the big questions really comes down to, okay, what are the New England Patriots getting with Jamie Collins? Ultimately, what they're getting is a guy who's going to come in and he is going to know this system. He spent a few years with the Patriots, so obviously he knows what it's like. He knows what's expected. He knows the environment and knows how to work with the other guys. He's going to be a guy that they do play at linebacker. Don't think that they are just going to put him on the defensive line, because they will have him at the linebacker position. They'll play him at that outside linebacker position, which the Patriots do need some help with. They are also going to make him a blitzing linebacker, which is going to need to be very important for the Patriots. He's going to be a linebacker that is really going to help them get sacks and put up those actual sacks when it comes to stats and not just getting pressure. But again, that goes back to, the Patriots secondary. The Patriots have an amazing secondary, but at the same time, you need to force the quarterback into making quick throws and quick mistakes. Jamie Collins will come in and do, just that, while also displaying the ability to actually be able to play coverage as a linebacker. What you will also see with Jamie Collins, what you'll see the Patriots do is that they will line him up at the edge. He's a very versatile guy, like I mentioned earlier. He's showcased it with New England. He started even showcasing it with Browns. A little inconsistent with the Browns, but started to re-show that consistency last season, like I mentioned earlier. But this is really going to help. Again, I'm not saying he's a great locker room guy. I can't say that, especially because of kind of how things ended with the Patriots. He's not necessarily this locker room personality, but he's coming in with a reputation, and he's coming in with relationships already built with guys like Hightower, with guys like Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung, Duron Harmon. All of these guys, Tom Brady already commented on the NFL's post when they posted about the signing. Tom Brady is hyped up, and it's just going to help the mentality there in New England. And as we all know, if you have a great mentality, you're going to produce even better on the field. Linebacker was kind of one of those positions that I said, it's okay. Like, the linebacker core isn't anything super special. They do not have good depth. I mean, you look at it with like a Hightower and a Bentley and a Van Noy. If those guys go down, then you were kind of screwed. Like, it wasn't a linebacker core that I went, this is not talented. It definitely was already a talented linebacker core, but it needed depth, and it definitely could use some help. Arguably one of the weaker spots on the Patriots defense, and it's a really great move that the Patriots are adding Jamie Collins to that move. So right now, with the Patriots depth chart at linebacker, you have Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, a Landon Roberts, Juwan Bentley, and a Shalik Calhoun. Collins is a guy who was selected to the Pro Bowl once. He was also first team All-Pro, just to show how talented he was in his time back when he was with New England. And just to kind of look back at his time with New England, we're going to go year by year with his stats. So in his rookie season with the Patriots, he played 8 games, but only had about 4 passes defended, along with 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for losses, 33 solo tackles, and 23 assisted tackles. So he had finished that year with about 56 tackles. The following season in 2014 with the Patriots, he had 2 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 138 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 10 quarterback hits. In 2015 with New England, he played 12 games and had another interception, except this year he had just 1. He had 6 passes defended, 5 forced fumbles, also had 5.5 sacks that season, had 89 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 7 quarterback hits. Then, in the brief time in 2016 he had with the Patriots before he got traded to Cleveland, he had played 7 games with another 2 interceptions, 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack, 31 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits. 1 tackle for loss and 3 quarterback hits. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 2 seasons he had when he was with Cleveland. So in 2017, this is where injuries started to kind of plague him. He had only played 6 games, but he had an interception. He had 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, had a total of 31 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits. And then this past season, he had played 16 games with, again, an interception, 4 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 104 total tackles with 4 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, and 7 quarterback hits. So when you look at each of his seasons and what his stats are and what his stats say, he usually gets at least an interception. So it shows how good he is in coverage to be able to do something like that. It also shows how he can read a defense or an offense. He can read a quarterback. He can read routes very well. He's also a tackling machine. I mean, 3 seasons in his career with over 100 tackles. But what his stats also tell you is that he's able to get to the quarterback, but he is also able to produce in stopping the run, which is something that the Patriots still, again, need a lot of help with and need to still establish. Now, will he make the final roster? We will just have to wait and see. We'll have to see how things go with him and the Patriots. More specifically, we'll have to see the contract he gets. Money and the duration of the contract truly do say a lot, so we'll have to see how that all ends up. But because of his experience in both the NFL and time with the Patriots, I would say that he would make the team. But what are your guys' thoughts on Jamie Collins reuniting with the New England Patriots? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe, as it helps me, the channel, and even you guys out very, very, very much. Make sure you guys share this video with everybody who knows something about the Patriots Global family. Other than that, I will catch you guys in another video.